Welcome to Success Stories. And again, my name is Stephen Jarrett. I am thrilled and excited to have another wonderful guest, an alumni of our JSC program. Today, you're going to hear from another wonderful real job seeker who's going to walk us through the systems, the habits, and the community that help them not just land a role, but truly land the right job and role for them. Our mission at JS Careers is simple. We help you get hired faster by replacing all the guesswork with a real, true, repeatable system and process for you. We understand that not every single individual needs to have the same level of support or they need the same exact plan. This is where the system and strategy comes down to the individual. We truly do believe that Diana, who is a wonderful example of this, took our program, utilized it to the absolute best of her abilities in the best possible way that she could, but she used the system that leaned into her strengths and pulled out all the wonderful human side we sometimes always miss as a job seeker. So with no further ado, I am extremely excited to be able to say hello to a dear friend. Again, a wonderful example of how tenacity and hard work can come through as a job seeker. Diana, how are you today?
I'm doing great, and I am delighted to be here just to share my journey that wasn't easy, and I know that it's not been easy for you that you are watching. And this is much more than just a pep talk or a positive thing. This is real life. And I will tell you that I was down, crushed, sad, and all those things that you are maybe feeling right now. But I pushed through and I got my job done.
That's awesome. And you know, that's a very good way for me to lean into one of the moments that I think was a resonating moment for me is I was blessed to be introduced to you through my wonderful friend as well, and graduate from the program, I should say, in Carla. And she, when we met first, I want you to be able to articulate to the audience where you kind of sat. So, you know, talk about a little bit where you came from, the previous company, and where your mindset kind of was, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I knew from the first minute that I got my phone call letting me know that I was laid off, I knew that I didn't want to do this alone. I already had lost my job 10 years ago, and I had a community. In those days, we didn't have the screen or the online communities. It didn't exist, and that made the difference. So I already had that experience. And I knew that after 10 years, things have changed. We were more media. And even though, yes, I had my LinkedIn, yes, I was hiring people, I knew that things were different. And not only different on how to approach it, but I was different. I was 10 years older. And I didn't want to start my search with a bias. When Carla told me about you, I said, you know, that's what I need. I need help. I need to know where to go from here. And I thought that I was strong, knowledgeable. But the first meeting that I went to, the Monday mindset, my realization was that fear was in the front seat. I had this fear. Me, this strong woman, I've been a single mom for 20 years. I have gone through all the challenges to raise my son by myself, but I had fear. And if I didn't acknowledge that and I didn't work on that, I wouldn't have gone that far. And that's what this community did for me. That's what you and Tina and going to a layoff, it's even if you are strong, it's devastating. I was there for 10 years. I was the star. And I built the company from 5 million to 38 million, and I was let go. So, and I didn't have time to grieve because I live in the Bay Area. I have to make the payment of my rent, meaning I didn't have time to take 3 months and get better. So I jump in and I join you.
That's great. And where I'll paint the picture here for the audience as well, and give some backdrop just of what the program looks like and how Diana entered into it. We believe you have to start with the right mental prep. And no matter if you're going through a layoff right now, you're in a toxic environment, and you know the layoffs are coming, or maybe there's just that constant pressure, and you feel as if you're just not unstable foundational ground, which is a lot what we talk about, and you want to take control. This is a great example of that. That's what Diana was seeking. She realized that she had not put that control back into her pockets. And once you have that control and you have that foundation built, then it's easy to then design your resume. It's easy to know exactly what industry, what companies you want to target. We talk a lot about that. I know you did an exceptional job, Diana, picking out your cold companies, your top 10, right? We'll get into that a little later. But we design out this step. So it's really 3 things you have to do. You have to be mentally prepared so you can get into step 1. So step 1 is all your marketing materials, your resume. You want to make sure you have an understanding of how you're going to write your cover letters, why you're writing those covers, what are your superpowers, what is it that makes you so special and makes you marketable to the areas that you need to market yourself to. Great, that's wrapped up. That's number 1. 2 would be the networking side of things, which, Diana, we're going to get real heavy in. You are the best networker that I think we've ever seen, in person particularly, so we'll lean into that. But we then design out your networking strategy. Whether that is LinkedIn, whether that is other social sites, whether we're hammering down into in-person events, which is something Diana did so well. And then from that networking strategy, that sets us up into the final teaching, training, and development around your interview skills, right? And then we have all the stages in that. So I won't go any more about that, but I want to understand that, because what Diana did so well is she recognized early and then invested in herself through not just the program, but then she set herself apart by immediately diving in on saying, I want to get through all of the struggles, the frustration, and the maybe even the anger. I'll use that word anger a little bit of the past, so that she could set herself up to present herself authentically and truly. And you did an amazing job of that. So I just want to make sure that the audience fully understands the hard work you put in those early stages. So great job to you for that. So let's talk about that system. So you talked about Mondays, but what really about the classes for you, the I would say the workshops, what advice would you give for anyone who's maybe they're not sure about, well, what do I even need these classes? What recommendation would you give around that?
Okay, I am a persistent person, and I am committed. So I went to every single class. I will wake up every morning, change of my PJs, put my little makeup, and come to my screen, and I will put 8 hours, and I will go through all the classes. What I saw is that, for example, the resume class, right? Oh, you took 1 class and you are done. I already know what to do with my resume. I thought I had the most amazing resume until I talked to Tina. And I also knew about LinkedIn. And Tina had half of the LinkedIn. If you see my LinkedIn now, I invite you to visit me under Diana Layseca or Diana Layseca. And it's very clean, very clean. And that was one thing that, recruiters will call me, but I was not interested in the recruiters. I was interested in doing it in person. So again, Stephen, I went through every single class. The resume class, I took it like 10 times. You don't know how many good questions I got, because at the end, I was the only one showing up, because people just already took it. And then I had a free session. And it was not only about resume, it was a lot about my questions on what I'm doing, how I'm doing. So I had Tina or Steven the whole hour for myself. and they had to be there for an hour. So I took advantage of that. And I'm telling you, please do so. There's always a gold nugget. Something else that I did is I took the AI classes, and Stephen was building this platform, and he is building it every day. So he's changing it. And AI things change, and he is on top of it. So out of the 17 A classes that I took, I became an expert. And then I will go to LinkedIn, and because of the community, there was this lady that also graduated. Adams is her last name, Katie, that had the most amazing LinkedIn posts. I was like, wow, I want to engage like she's doing it. So I sent her a text, and she replied, and I said, can you teach me? And she did. This is the community. People will help you if you ask, and she will prove my post like the first 3 or 4. Then I created, as Steven said, a program for myself that I had to post 3 times, and I had to do it using my voice. I have by then incorporated all the learnings from AI, but it was me writing the post. It was me telling everyone of my struggles on how I'm volunteering. That was another thing that I did to go to the events, so I don't have to pay $400. And I got to know everybody. So it was just my experience there. And I became strong. Like I have a schedule. I have to go to 2 events in person during the week and 3 posts on LinkedIn. And that's what I did. I followed that, and the results came later.
Yeah, and that system that you not only you followed inside of JSC, but then you created and molded. And I want to make another clear point here for everybody listening is because I'll brag on you. What you took was what we preach, and you owned it. And there's a couple segments in here that you said, and I'm gonna highlight 2 of them. I could probably highlight another 2, but I'll stick to just 2. One was the trusting the system, and you really did. Again, you were a 5-month job seeker, right? This is this isn't one of those moments where you fell into that 50% category of the folks who found one in 3 months, right?
Mhm.
But the difference in that was, and we'll talk about this a little later too, is you rejected an offer, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is where the trusting in the process comes in. You had the understanding to reject that offer because you removed the fear, and now you were focused in on believing that I'm doing what's right. I'm talking to the right people. I have the confidence to know that something better is coming along because I'm worth it. So we'll get to that in a minute. So step 1 was trusting in the process. Step 2, utilizing the resources. What you're articulating there is so important. AI is a great tool. It's a wonderful tool, but that's what it is. It's a tool, right? It's an assistant, and that's how we teach that class. You embodied that so well. You created your own projects inside of ChatGPT, right? You invested the money in the larger service so that you could actually build and design the things for yourself, which I think is great. The other thing that you did really well is you utilized the resources of the community. You mentioned Katie, and yes, Katie is phenomenal. One of our success stories. Go check her out. It's a wonderful story for herself too, where she overcame so much in her life, and then of course is just a phenomenal leader in her own right. But you and Katie then connect. You take and learn from Katie, and then look what you did. And I know you've actually are helping others right now. I even saw in the Discord someone reached out to you just the other day. So I'm excited to see where that goes as a new job seeker has emerged, that you're now going to get to mentor a little bit, which is super cool to see in the community, right? But this is the point where you took 1, trusted the system, the process, and then 2, utilize the tools off of it, right? A lot of people can join. A lot of people can be a part of the program, and they can gather what they need, and they'll have success. You'll get where you want to be. But you not only just got the tools, got involved, but then you actually trusted your process. And that's, of course, where we see the actual quality and not the quantity. So let's talk about that. You weren't out there applying to hundreds of jobs. Like, you were never going to be that person that's going to utilize that amazing posting skills to talk about, oh, I applied to 500 jobs and I've heard nothing back, right? So talk about your system there and how you utilized it appropriately to not just, you were busy, you had 2 to 3 interviews a week, it felt like, most weeks. So what were you doing and what was different about your approach?
Well, in order for me to build my confidence, first I have to accept that my confidence was low and the fear was in the front seat. And I needed to practice. And I said, I will just have interviews. And I didn't want to apply online because I know that my network is huge and that's what I do for a living. I have built this other company through my network. And it's so true. It's different when you have a job and you have a great company and everybody loves you. But when you don't, it's hard to get the attention of people because they are busy. So I knew that it won't come immediately, that I needed to plant my seeds. And that's what I did. It takes work. I have to understand. I want you to understand that I am as human as anybody, that I had challenges in my life. I had an accident on November 15th, that it was a bad one. And because of it, I lost friends because I have to go through uh, through a hard time, and I lost my friends. 2 weeks later, my father had an accident, and I lost my father on Thanksgiving Day. By then, I know that the company is changing, but they are not telling me. And my brother-in-law had that December 4-stage cancer. He passed, meaning every single thing. And then the following year, I got laid off. So I was still recovering from my injuries when I got laid off. And that's why the fear was in the front seat. I didn't know if I would walk again. And I was going through therapy, but I was in front of my computer. This is just to give you an idea that I know if you are feeling like, I don't want to say desperate, but feeling like this is dark, I've been there. And through the dark, I still put this program together because that was the only way that I will see the light. And I follow it. And I don't know if I went on the tangent on your question, Stephen, but I just wanted to put that in order for the people that are listening, is that you have to hang to something that is positive. And one of the things that I learned with Stephen was the 1%. And that's all I wanted to do every day. 1% good. And it doesn't matter if it was 1% looking for a job, but 1% as a person. How can I improve 1% every day? And to get rid of the fear, because Monday will come and I felt like this child going to school and you don't want to go. And there was another tip that I learned: write your wins. So I wrote my wins every day, and on Sunday afternoon, I will pick the 3 best wins. And that was, I will walk, I will exercise because of my injury, and I will connect with somebody. I always had a win. So at 6 p.m. on Sunday, I will read my wins, and I was ready for Monday without that fear. So that's how I was able to overcome it.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. And I think that does feed into some of the conversation that I was pointing you towards, which was the quality over the quantity. And that's because you did understand that the value in each interaction. right? And that meant on those hard days, maybe that interaction was lighter, right? Did you send out 15 messages on those days that I remember you used to message me in the group and mention something about all I want to do is eat chocolates, right? That's all you wanted to do that day. Instead, you would get up, you would send your messages, you found your motion, and you found your strength through reminding yourself that just because today's a bad day doesn't mean that tomorrow has to be.
Yeah,
And I
and
think
the quality for me was a plan. The quality was translated into a plan. And the plan, I will repeat, for me was 2 in-person events per week, and that's a lot, and 3 posts on LinkedIn per week. And what will I post? Okay, my experience, and if I had an interview, I will find out what the company was looking for, and I will write about it. For example, in my field, collaborative delivery, that is a methodology to deliver heavy civil structures in engineering, was a hot topic. So that's what I will write. And I will write 3 different approaches to that and how my business development can help. So I will find out what was the pain point of this company and I will write about it. So that was my quality strategy. And if didn't get the job, I got the connections, I used the 3. I have an accent. I'm talking about the plant, not the 3 number, that it will branch. So even though I didn't get the position, I will always ask for a couple of people that I can connect, and I will grow it, and I will grow it, and I will grow it, and those people at the end came back. Stephen also said about me trying to have chocolate. Nothing was easy. I had, with this company, with my dream company, I finally had an interview. And I was so ready after all the other interviews that I had had. And for me, when I called Stephen, I said, I did perfect. They are hiring me because I did absolutely by the book everything, and I engaged, and they knew that I was knowledgeable. And guess what? That Saturday, I got an email saying that I didn't get the job. I was crushed. It was already 5 months looking for a job, and this is the company that I wanted to work for. I stayed in bed. I cried. I had a box of chocolate, and that's when I sent the note to Stephen. But at 7 p.m., I was up again writing my 3 LinkedIn posts for next week and writing my wins and already having 2 other companies to interview the following week. By then, I had more than 1 company to interview with. And the story goes that after 2 weeks, when I was going to accept another job, this company called me. They were impressed with my interview and they wanted to create a position for me. And that's the position that I have now. But I was ready to go back and get working again because I knew that I will find a job, because by then I had my confidence where I needed to be. I know who I was, and I know that I was valuable. And fear was in the back by then. And I wouldn't have done that without the support of this group, this community, and yeah.
Yeah, so I want to feed off of that because that is such an important catalyst. And there's a couple of points there, but I want to go back in time just slightly about let's call it I think it was a month or maybe 3 weeks before you had that interview, right? So you were interviewing with a company that they did love you. They offered you a job. It was the job, not to the company's detriment. It's not their fault. The company, it was a role that was beneath your skill set, right? It would have been what we like to teach in the organization or as in the company and in JSC careers. is a vessel role. It would have been a job to get you to the job you want to be, or a job you could grow into, right? So it's never the perfect role. So let's talk through that. Let's talk through kind of your rationale of how you had rent due. There were financial pressures, right? You had a lot of stress. How did you manage that stress first? And then we'll get to my next question. So let's talk about managing the idea of the stress of possibly turning this job down, because it would have alleviated some of those financial pressures. May not have been the right job. Talk about your logic and how you came to that.
I was, by then, after 3 months, I was sure that I didn't want to have more stress if I took something that didn't fit me. And what I did, something that I didn't do often, is I ask a lot of questions, because that's what I learned in the program. If I have this stress, this fear, is because there are things that are not answered. So that's what I did. I really asked a lot of questions, and I didn't sign the offer, and I asked for an extension until the following Monday, so they will answer those questions. And the answer was, oh, well, you were supposed to sign Friday, so the job is gone. And I thought, what a blessing. That's my answer. That company is not for me. If I cannot ask my questions and treat it with the respect that I want to be treated, this is not for me. And that's how I manage my stress, because I prefer to be in this seat right now, in the stress that I am in, that I know that I will conquer if I follow my process, that going to a place that I'm not going to be treated equally. And that was huge. And that's how I manage my stress. And that was 3 months. And it took me another 2 months and a half to find this position. So it was not easy. It was not easy.
Yeah. Now, and I want to put two major points in. That company that you were discussing with, there was no deadline of exact to sign, right? This was a negotiation back and forth, and you made the choice consciously to say, until you answer these questions, I can't sign this line. So in reality, you knew on that Friday when we chatted it, I know they're going to yank this position away from me because they don't want to answer my questions. And just so everybody understands how the program works. We have areas inside of our Discord and ways for you to be able to ask questions. So when you're going through your process and something like the negotiations are popping up, you can activate and set up a session with myself or Tina and have one-on-one conversations. Always, you can do that, right? Or you can utilize our Discord server where the community lives and ask those very specific questions. That's typically behind in the members section, where you can say, hey, I got this came in for me. What should I do? I'm at this negotiation point. I know in the guidance, how should I react to this? And we get to have great dialogue there. So I just want everyone to understand that when you have those moments, literally not the community is with you, your coaches are with you, and obviously, hopefully from the training perspective, and I know you did a great job of this too, is you didn't have to always ask because you went through the program so well. You knew the training. So huge kudos for you there. Now I want to go off another piece of this because it takes a lot when it comes to an interview mindset, which is something we teach, and that's what you mentioned. You knew going into every one of these companies that you were going to talk to, that you understood your value, you understood where you wanted to go, and you understand how you wanted to get there, which gave you the strength to have the right mindset to go and actually ask those questions. That's also how it leads, and we teach how that follow-up is. You talked about the being turned down for an opportunity, and then networking off of that. We call that a loss to a lead. I want everybody to hear these terms so they understand. And I think you did that extremely well. So we'll jump past, of course, the strength moment there to be able to let that job go. But I want to kind of wrap it up and move us into really truly understanding how you were resilient and really how the tiger arc happened? So you already mentioned about how they rejected you. I understand that. That was the first no for that position. It was the dream role. I remember that so vividly. I still remember getting the text message from you, and I just sunk in my seat a little bit because I knew you were perfect for that job. But I think all things happen for a reason, right? And so let's talk about that. You had your 48-hour reset. Great. You got back to your schedule on Monday. You got back to work. You had some things rolling. How many weeks really was it? And how many follow-ups did you have to do with Tiger before you kind of reeled them back in to have another conversation? Let's talk about that motion.
Oh, well, I had two really good connections there. And on that Sunday, after I put myself together, but I allowed to be sad. I mean, I allow myself, and I said 1 box of chocolate. I really had to, meaning I allowed to be down. After I picked myself up because I had my time, I sent a text to my two connections at the company, letting them know a very nice text that I was not, meaning I got that rejection letter, that I was extremely disappointed, of course, and sad. I thought the position was for me, but I wanted to reach out to them to see if there's another option, another position open. They can think about me. That was like a Sunday. Yeah, that was Sunday. On Monday, I called to one of the people, and she was very supportive. She says, "Well, we are all disappointed, but I want you to know that people were saying that our interview was amazing. 3 of those people have reached out to maybe to somebody higher in management, but the thing is that I didn't get the job." And by Wednesday, I already had talked to 2 companies, and that Wednesday, they have offered me, uh, and they will send me an offer letter. So I still did on Thursday my hike because it was in my schedule, and I got a phone call from Tiger, and they didn't say that they would give me the job, but they said that they wanted to talk to me again. I think it was that day. Oh no, Thursday. They talked to me. Maybe they called me Wednesday when I had the 2 offers. Yes, and that was it. I had the conversation on Thursday with 3 other people, and they informed me that they opened a position for me. So it was less than a week.
Yeah.
And by then I told them, you know what? I have 2 other options. They are sending me the letter. So this is not a joke. This has to be final because I need to have a job. And they sent me my offer letter that same day.
Well, I think that's a good way to talk about, I'm a data person, Diana, so I'm not going to shock anyone who listens to anything. Everything is data driven, right? And when a company typically comes back to the table, the percentage chance of you landing that role goes up exponentially. So when you first meet with someone through an external referral, that really doesn't really mean that you're going to get the job or the right fit. It just means that somebody recognized your talent, right? So you're about 15 to 18% chance of getting a job with an external referral. So that's your number. But when it is after getting to the end, and so let me be very clear here what happened for Diana. She got all the way to being with maybe that we don't really know, one other person, maybe 2 at the very end with Diana, and they chose to go another direction. When you get to that point and you can reactivate that relationship, and that's where that, again, taking a loss to a lead, that increases that to 92% chance you're going to be selected. I want you to think about that number for a second. For all of us job seeker out there who we deflate when we get to the end and we lose out. That is such a huge mistake. I think back all the way to Shay, who was one of the original alumni from this program. And what we did together was realizing this moment where we're like, oh no, we should navigate to another part of the company. And that's what you also did. You never, in your follow-up letter, you were thankful, you showed gratitude, and you always left the door open that if there's anywhere else that my skills, my talent could be utilized in the company, please let me know. I think back to Amber and how they created a position for Amber, right? This works, folks. It doesn't matter if you get the job. Like I'm thinking of Jarrett and you were the perfect fit and it works out within 2 months and it's great. Or you show your value. You connect with people, you build those relationships so that they want you to be a part of the team. They know you're a top talent. They're going to put you where they want you to be. And they'll even build a position. Happened for Amber, and it happened for you. So amazing kudos. Amazing kudos. And that's the difference. Whenever there's a rejection, guys, that just is data. That's not your destiny. It's just data. It just means to shift and pivot and look for another way. But it doesn't mean you didn't create value. It doesn't mean that you didn't make impact there at that company, right? So, okay. So I want to kind of go back and share a little bit as we kind of wrap this up, because we've covered a lot. There's been a lot of conversation, Diana, in this piece that has been so helpful. But if you could sum it up into, like, say, oh, you know, I love threes. Diana's 3 takeaways. What would be Diana's 3 takeaways that you would want to share for every listener to hear, to say, oh, yes, I want to take these 3 and go do these 3?
For me, community will be one, being part of the community. There's a word that you use, cadence, that I cannot pronounce it, but for me is consistency. Follow the rule. And the third one for me is you have to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. I put it third, but take care of yourself first, second, and third. Find what is the one thing that you need to take care of. Your mental health, for me, was showing up on Mondays. Showing up on Mondays, Mindset Monday was my drug. Those are my 3.
Well, I think that's great. And so what I hear is, you know, you talked about the community an awful lot, and the cadence. The cadence, I think, is the word that you're thinking through. And that it's about that system, right? And you took that 9 to 3 system that we offer and teach, and you embody that fully. And the cool part about the 9 to 3 system is it designed so that it flows well into the next 2 things that you offered, right? It's about leaning into your strengths, network properly. That's that was your strength, and you utilized that really, really well. And I think the other side of it is the 9 to 3 gives you time to grow. And I think that's the big piece that you also did. You grew healthier. And I don't, and it's not just physical. You of course you're athletic. You always were a big runner, walker. You go hiking. You did all the fun things that California has to offer, right? The beautiful weather that I'm not jealous at all. As I sit in Charlotte and it's a little cold right today. Not jealous. I'm not envious. But you did those things so well, and from that also led you. You talked about earlier, and I just want to repeat this. You didn't get nervous or shy away from all the technology that was thrown at you, right? And as a job seeker, as the folks that I've spoke to over the last 3 months, and obviously I've taken a lot of calls from the Verizon folks recently, and there's so many technological things out there, all these different bots that do different things, and a resume scanner, and ATS is so scary, and all this noise. And you did such a great job of saying, no, I'm going to learn how to utilize this technology to help support my strengths, not the other way around.
Exactly. Big point.
Yeah.
Big point, Stephen, because I'm using it now in my position. And I'm using my LinkedIn, and I'm using my posts, and they allow me. So great.
Oh, I love that. And I think through a piece that I know I want to say as well, because you're talking about how you do so well now. We believe this so much that what we teach inside the program is to set you up for success later. The same program that we believe, this is why we believe in the 3 months. Okay. We believe in 3 months is because with the way we teach it, it helps you do 3 major things. You get all the information in order. Once you know, you're educating yourself, you're training, you're developing, you're learning in that first month. Then you go into testing mode, and that's number 2, where you start to test. That's the second month. You're testing everything. You're building your system and your processes based on your beliefs and everything you've learned. And then the third thing is execution. And Diana, you have done this so well in your existing role. I don't want to overshadow that. I want to close us on this. And I want to give everybody everyone in the world, I guess, that technically could be listening to this, right? They need to know that Diana not only has been successful in her new role, which is a brand new role, designed, complete, new structure, build, design. not only did she do well, but I'm going to brag a little bit that in your second month of your review, you had an exceptional review. You have landed, you're way above the expectations of your execution moments. You're executing in month 2, right? Already. And one of our goals is that you become an impact player. And I just want to tell you, I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited to see what happens next. The 90-day review is going to be even better. And thank you so much for being a part of this call today and sharing your story with so many others.
My pleasure. I hope it helps. And I'm wishing you luck to each of you.
Thank
you,
you,
Stephen.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Diana. And for everybody else listening, as we wrap up, just know that if you're like Diana and you're needing to work through some of those difficult moments and you're wanting to move yourself and get yourself feeling that unstuck feeling, get a part of a community. I know I'm obviously biased to mine. Come join ours. If you're not sure, listen to us. It's free to come pop into Discord. It's free to be there, right? See how we interact. See what we do. Test us out. Listen, subscribe to this podcast. Listen to our Mindset Monday podcast. That's also available to you. Use your resources. Listen to the different success stories and see how they use different systems and processes so that you can find the person that matches you and then find that person. Every one of our alumni are open and willing to communicate with absolutely everybody. That's the cool part about this. We know that we set ourselves up to build the process so that you learn how to fish, not just to give it a fish. And the rule is you have to teach other people how to fish. That's a part of the community. So your job is to go and help others. So please reach out. Thank you again to everybody for listening. Diana, you are a pleasure. I'm so happy that we are staying connected. I'm so happy that you are an alumni in our program and I see you pop in and chat. Thank you for being a resource for everyone else. And to everybody, have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you, and we'll talk real soon.